Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to work on describing a mapping diagram. So what we're going to use in both instances here is being able to use this input and output mapping diagram. So we're going to do the same thing we have been doing. We're going to start with our input and see where it leads us. Okay. I'm just going to go through real quick and I'm just going to go ahead and circle these because this is what I do. Hey, here's all four of my numbers. Now I'm just going to go one by one and follow every line. All right. What I can tell already is only one line comes from every output. In other words, there's only one output for every input. I think I misspoke. There's only one line coming from every input to an output. So, since that's the case, we know this is a function. And the first question actually asks exactly that. Determine whether the relation is a function. And very simply, I can say yes because I've already done the work to prove it. Now, the next question is, describe the pattern of inputs and outputs in the mapping diagram. Well, the thing that it's asking for, I'm trying to think of the best way to word this. What it's asking for is how does one x value or one input value change each time? What's the pattern that you see between each input? Then it's also asking what's the pattern you see between each output. Now, this is going to become very valuable when we move to actually writing or finding or creating or whatever we're going to call it, the equation that comes from these inputs and outputs. So we need to be able to recognize and describe the pattern because that will lead to getting an equation. So what I notice is I go 1, 2, so I added 1. 2, 3, so I added 1. And 3, 4, so I added 1. So in order to go from each input, I increased by 1. Then I come over here, 15 to 30 is I added 15. 30 to 45 is I added 15. And 45 to 60, again, I added 15. So the way I would describe this is, let me write actually in this, in blue, describe the pattern of inputs and outputs. So as the inputs, and I'm going to say increase by 1, the outputs and need to change that out to be color coordinated, increase by 15. All right, so there's my statement describing the pattern of inputs and outputs in the mapping diagram. In other words, I've related my inputs to my outputs, and just by stating what each one individually does. So as this right here means these are related, and that's what a function tells us. A function tells us our inputs and outputs are related and how they're related. So as the inputs increase, now this word increase came because I'm adding. So this is increase, which is why I use that word here, by 1. Well, that was just my number that I was increasing by. Then the outputs were increasing, again, increase because we're adding. The outputs increase by 15. So we should now be able to determine whether or not the relation is a function because one output for every input. And we should be able to describe the pattern. In this case, the pattern is as the inputs increase by 1, the outputs increase by 15. If you have any questions, make sure to email those to me tonight. Stay safe out there, guys, and have a wonderful rest of your evening.